Hello students, my name is Prerna and I'm your EVS teacher. And today from your EVS book Enviro, we are going to be reading chapter number 30. So tell me one thing, whenever you have to go from one place to another, let's say you have to go to your grandmother's house or maybe to your uncle's house or maybe you have to go to your school, how do you go? So you might go on bicycle, you might go, let's say in a bus, in a train, or you might be taking a flight to a particular place. So these buses or these trains or the bicycle that we use or maybe the car or the aeroplane that we go in, what do we call them? We call them as means of transport. All right. So this chapter, chapter number 13, is about means of transport. All right. And this is also your unit 6, which is about transport and communication. Transport deals about how do you move from one place to another. Okay. Let's do the small activity first. You can see that some means of transport are given here, correct? We need to find out which is the odd one out. Like the first one is already done for us. So car, boat, bus and bicycle. What makes boat the odd one out? Because car, bus or a bicycle, these are all means of transport used on land. For water, if you have to move from one place to another using water as means of transport, you use a boat. Let's try the second one. So you have ship, boat, aeroplane and yacht. Okay, yacht. So which is the odd one out? It's the aeroplane because it is the air means of transport. Then you have helicopter, bullock cart, rocket, aeroplane. So very simple one again, it's the bullock cart because this is the only land transport. Then you have camel, a mule or a donkey, let's say, train and elephant, which is the odd one out. Another simple one, train, because the other means of transport, in the other means of transport, we're talking about animals, which are used as means of transport. Then you have scooter, motorcycle, bicycle, car. So tell me, which is the odd one out? It is the car. Why? Now these all are land means of transport. So why car is the odd one out? Because it is a four-wheeler. Then you have truck, bicycle, bullock cart and rickshaw. So tell me, which is the odd one out? You have truck, bicycle, bullock cart and rickshaw. So let's do one thing. This one I leave for you. Think about it, that which is the odd one out, and let's see if you can pick up the odd one out and what is the reason for it. All right. So let us start reading this chapter. Earlier, humans traveled on foot or carried their load on animals' back. It took them a long time to travel. Today, people use various vehicles to move from one place to another. So many years back, when the bicycle or the bullock cart or let's say trains, all these things were not invented, people mostly traveled on foot, or maybe they used a few animals also for moving from one place to another. The vehicles that we use to travel from one place to another, they are called as means of transport. Different means of transport. So now we are going to talk about that what are the different means of transport. Like we did this activity wherein we were finding the odd one out, where I spoke about animals as means of transport, air transport, land transport, water transport. So this is exactly what we are going to study in this. So let us start reading about the different means of transport. There are three means of transport. What are these? Land transport, air transport, and water transport. First, let's talk about the land transport. The name itself or the heading itself. Land transport, it refers to the, let's say the vehicles which we use over land to move from one place to another. Could be a fast moving vehicle, could be a slow moving vehicle, and these include railways or cars. Wheels help us to travel quickly on land. Some vehicles have two wheels, and they are called as two-wheelers, and then there are others which have four wheels, and we call them as four-wheeler. Taking an example of two-wheeler, you have a scooter. Taking an example of four-wheeler, we have cars. To travel within the city, people use buses, cars, scooters, auto rickshaw, motorcycle, etc. You also have three-wheelers like an auto rickshaw. And these are means of land transport. Buses and trains are used to travel long distances. Trucks are used to carry goods to distances. Metro train, it is the latest mode of transport, and it is a land transport. Now we talk about air transport. Again, of course, the transport that takes us from one place to another, which is above the, moving above the ground. That is your air transport. These are used for covering very long distances. Aeroplanes and helicopters are the means of air transport. And they are also the fastest means of transport, but also expensive. The third means of transport that you have is water transport. These transports are also used for covering long distances by sea. Ships, sailboat, and boats, they are the means of water transport. These means of transport take too much time to travel, but they are very economical. That is, they are very cheap. So I'll tell you something. I have traveled in all the three means of transport. So I've traveled via buses and trains, I've traveled via plane, and I've also traveled via ships. Animals as means of transport. Animals are still used as means of transport in small towns and villages. Camels carry goods and people in deserts. In hills and mountains, people use mules and donkeys. And in some places like forest, elephants and horses are also used as means of transport. All right. Then fuel used in means of transport. We know that vehicles take people and goods from one place to another, but to move they need fuel. There are different kinds of fuel used. You have petrol, you have diesel, you have CNG, you have coal, and you have electricity, like an electric train. They burn and help in the movement of vehicles, but our earth has only a limited amount of fuel. If we waste it, then there might not be enough left. So we should save fuel. Walk short distances or use cycles. It helps us to stay healthy as well. Another small thing that we can do, if we see that the red light is for a longer duration, let's say it's for more than a minute, you should always turn off your car's engine. Now there are two things that you are doing here. First, you are saving fuel. Second, you are saving the environment. How? Because the pollution that is caused by the fuel, that is curbed. So you need to make sure that you do not cause harm to the environment. And a very nice suggestion that is given in the chapter, that for small distances, you should try and walk, rather than being completely dependent on scooters or scooties or things like those. You should try and walk, or maybe you can use a bicycle. Again, you're saving the environment as well as you are keeping yourself healthy. I hope all of you enjoyed reading this chapter. Happy traveling. Thank you so much.